Thank you for joining me. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and this is Truth Channel Network. On this video, I want to join us and get us also to reason with me and to connect the dots, and so that we'll be able to understand the game plan of the Fulani against us. I'm going to be looking at history and trail it through until now. And the important reason why we have to do this is to help those people who don't really know and who are still confused about the Islamization project. Now, before we go into details, I want you to take this fundamentally as I stated. The program of the Fulanis or the jihadists is actually not Islamization. It is about a supremacy control mechanism. It is a tribe wanting to take control of every other tribe, dominate every other tribe, and usurp power over everybody. But when you see Islam being used as a tool, you should understand the consequences that goes with religion. And knowing that religion has a way of silencing people and helping to push a narrative so that there is no suspicion, and so that those who are carrying out such kind of narrative could have a cover, and sentimentally so, have some people who would be emotional or would be sentimental about their approach based on the fact that they are from the same religion. The narrative of Fulanization is strong, and that is the essence of the supremacist agenda created by the Islamic world so that they could deal with indigenous people and take over their lands. Remember, when you go to the Fulani tribe, there are lots of connection with the Arab world by birth and so many ways. And so, by extension, they intend to take over every territory that belongs to other people. I want to welcome you. First of all, before we go on, I want you to like this video and share it on other social media platforms so that other people can also enjoy the opportunity of listening to this and also being part of what we're talking about here. Now listen carefully. I'm going to take it step by step so that we don't get ourselves jumbled by so many things, because sometimes information come jumbled, and because of the jumbled nature of the information, we tend to lose the essence of the whole thing. I want to take your minds through the period of before the British came and what has been happening to our people and till now. All of you know who Osman Danfodio is. I don't need to, he's not important to us anyways, but it is significant we talk about him because he has a strong connection to what we are looking at right now. You must understand that there is a connection from the point of Usman Danfodio to the Abuja Declaration of 1989. And because basically most of our people don't understand the whole narrative surrounding the Abuja Declaration and the completeness of the information or the idea behind Osman Danfodio's project, which is the influence that the Abuja Declaration carries. Now, you should understand something here. Abuja Declaration was not just an Abuja program of Muslims in Abuja or West Africa or so in Africa. It was a global arrangement. It was designed for a program for the next decades to entrench Islam, sentimentally so, for control, supremacist control. Remember, the fight for control is beyond just the Fulanis. The Fulanis are the tools and the instruments being used for this supremacist agenda. Those who are the ones controlling the narrative are the Arab nations. And if by the time we get to the place of discussing the Abuja narrative or the Abuja declaration, you would come to understand who is truly behind our predicaments. But please, I want us, before I move forward, we have to begin to build community security outfits. Very, very important. Because you see what is happening right now. These Fulanis and these terrorists, regardless of whatever name they bear, they have their grip on our communities. Of course, you all are conversant with the news every day. Every day we hear of killings, kidnappings, terrorism. You see brutal killings, ritual killings. I mean, grievous situations that would make you wonder, are these humans at all? And what is the mission of these people? And these people doing all of this stuff, do they mean that they can go on with these kinds of narrative and yet still have the conscience to continue to carry out these evils without thinking? And you begin to wonder what is behind this whole madness. But there's so many things behind it. And that is supremacy. That supremacy ideology to take over using Islam as a tool. Islam is basically the tool. Not because those who are Islamic, the Islamic clerics, those ones who have really gone to read and learn, not because they think that Islam is actually, worth it, but because they believe that it is a tool. And so to make that tool effective, they make sure that majority of their citizens or those in their lands are not educated to be knowledgeable enough to have the information that would help them and to understand, things better and to reasonably or intellectually harness the information coming from the Quran to know what is right and what is wrong. They need to keep the people dormant and stationary in their mindset. And all they do is indoctrinate them using the Quran, because the Quran has the fundamental structure of indoctrination on how to deal with these kinds of things. And that's why the price is 72 virgins, because when you hear such kinds of lucrative price, people tend to go crazy, because humans naturally want to have goodness, want to have good things around them, want to enjoy good things. And so when you give them some price, they're ready to go all the way to do it, especially when they're indoctrinated to believe that that price is real. So if I come on social media right now and I tell you I have a 50,000 and I bring a video, I show you the 50,000 right now, $50,000, and I said I am going to give this to so people who do so things, and once that cash is seen, people would go all the way to contest for it. That's how life is. The reason why you find people playing football today, or people swimming, or people going to boxing, or people going to several games and entertainment programs and several arrangements in life and several businesses, it's not because they want to really do that because they are so passionate about it, but because there's a price. Life itself goes after a price. Even God himself has said it, that there's a price. When you come into life and you grow up and you get married and all of that, you are looking forward to increasing your family, improving your family, and creating your own family and getting things and to achieve a lot to leave your children. A price. You're looking forward to something higher. And so when you are dealing with religious jingoism or religious indoctrination, then there's something that calls for much or major attention, because that is where you have the level of danger that you can never anticipate on anything. And so you got to listen to me carefully. Utsman Danfodio came in, and in between 1804 1808, he carried out the jihad against the Gober, nation, and killed the king. I don't want to go into those details, but I'm going to try to see. But let me first of all give you a summary, or a synopsis of the whole idea of where I'm going, so that later I'm going to take it step by step, go to the Sokoto Caliphate now, when it began, and also and give you the details of the things that happened that led to that area becoming a caliphate, and all of that, and then I will take you through to Abuja Declaration. But let me just give you a general overview of the whole narrative. Now, 1804, 1808, he carried out that jihad, and the name is jihad in Islam because it is about dealing with the people who are unbelievers for the sake of Allah, and then getting the price that Allah has set, which is 72 virgins, a lot of wine in the heaven. Drink enough wine. Don't drink wine here, but drink enough wine, even if they still drink here. So the promises are so lucrative, so they have to go all out for it. So, and after defeating the Gober nation, he turns it to a caliphate and he becomes the first caliph. And then you have the Sokoto Caliphate. He changed the name from Gober to Sokoto, and from then it advances. And of course, how the British now came in. They were advancing, they were trying to penetrate through Benue and other places to enter into Biafra land. And they were always stopped around Benue because sometimes bees chased them. Sometimes there was this rigorous fight. The people of Benue, Plateau, and other places were one people, they fought themselves, different nations, but one people, and they fought to keep the caliphate away, and the caliphate couldn't defeat them. And so that had been the anger, because Osman Dan Fodio's mandate has been that they're going to take over everything that is within, from that point of the Sokoto Caliphate to the sea. So that has been the plan. And so when the British now came in, that also halted that program at that point in time, because the British now took over and began to do what they were doing also in their own interest. The British did all they did, manipulated, killed, did all they could do. They brought in Christianity also, and so many things came to play. And then we now came to the point of independence, and people like Azikiwe Awolowo and all those people were there, and they were handed over, but it was given to the Fulanis to control. And so the first president became Azikiwe, but the main person controlling was the minister, who was a Fulani man, or the prime minister, yes, was a Fulani man. And so, but the authority was handed over, power was handed over to the Fulanis, because they believed that these ones are not indigenous to the nation. And so these ones would want to do anything on behalf of the British to keep their relevance, because since they are not indigenous, they also don't own the lands. And since they don't own the land, they can only be like security men or guards on behalf of the British Empire. Because if you give the control of guarding the place into the hands of the indigenous people, it's not going to be possible. How can you tell me to guard my thing for you? It's not possible. So you need to give it to those who are not indigenous, and then those who are not indigenous would want to guard it for you because of their own interest, because of what they're making out of it, because they're benefiting from it also. So they want to guard it for you, knowing that it doesn't belong to them, it doesn't belong to you. So, but you have superior power over them. So they have to guard it, subdue the owners, kill the owners, brutalize the owners, enslave the owners, and all of that, so that they could keep having what they have to get. And then the real people with the power, the British, would also keep having what they're going to get as it is planned, And so that led to the point after what happened after the 1960 so-called flag independence, and then it led to the so-called republic in 1963, and then moved on until 1966 when the coup happened, and then led to the issue of 1966. Towards the end of 1966, the Ebri in Ghana, the Ebri Accord, where Gowon and Ojukwu were, and they signed a very lovely, deal for the people, for the nations trapped in Nigeria. That was going to be the beginning of the heaven for the Nigeria contraption, or the nations in the Nigeria contraption. That was going to be the beginning of a new thing, or new things. But it was, messed up by Gowon. As soon as he came in, the British said, hey, it can't fly. When they looked at the narrative and the details, they saw that they were going to be missing out along the line. They saw that the arrangement here was too superb. It was going to give the Yoruba nation a better stance. It was going to give the Igbo nation a better stance. It was going to give the Hausa nation a better stance. In fact, it was a form of liberation from the British grip. And so when they saw that, they told Gowon, it can't fly. You have to go fight these people. And when Ojukwu now came all out, waiting for the announcements, as agreed, Gowon didn't come to announce the whole thing. He had to go out and announce. And as soon as it was announced, it now became an alibi for the attack. And all of you know what happened, how people were killed and brutalized, and all the things that went on in that period. And that was the beginning of the sorrow of Nigeria until today. All this led to different kinds of coup. Later, they tell you another civilian government has come in, and then later another coup until it came to the point of IBB, taking over from Buhari, you know, and then the Arab nations were thinking we need to enforce, because all this while the Arab nation or the Fulani Caliphate have been on their own program, thinking, how do we extend? We still have our program. The British came, they disrupted our program, but we still have our program intact. We still need to conquer these people and take over their lands. It is what our agenda that have been mandated by Usman Dan Fodio, who is strongly our overseer and our spiritual leader. And so they were still thinking of defeating and conquering. And so there was this liaison with the Arab nation. They were penetrating, discussing with the Arab nations, all over the nations of the world, all over the world anyways, where the Arab nations are located. And they were discussing, we need to enforce this, we need to go back, we need to conquer these nations, the Igbo nation, the Hausa nation, the nations all over West Africa and all over Africa. We need to conquer them. Remember, this land belongs to us, and the resources are yours. And so the Arab nations here say, yes, you guys need to do that. The Arab nations are the leaders of these Fulani people and the controllers of these people. And so they said, you must march ahead. And right now is the time, now that we have a man there, Babangida there, they had to discuss. We need to hold a conference that would help us design a program under the template of Usman Dan Fodio, but in a better format now, because now the world has gone beyond just using swords and horses and all of that to fight and conquer. Now we have to be sophisticated, we have to go digital, we have to go in technological, we have to go scientific, we have to go all social wise and different ways and manipulate the whole thing and do what we have to do, and militarily also, to make sure that we get control over these nations that are in the contraption and then extended to other nations like Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Liberia and other places, West African nations and all of that, and all through Africa. So that gave birth to the Abuja Declaration. But if you go online right now to try to browse the real objective, the main objective of the Abuja Declaration, you'll discover that it is blocked. You can't see it. But they actually opened up an objective that you can easily relate with, that gives you the softer version of the real declaration. The real declaration is strong. It talks of taking these things with all desperation, no matter what is necessary to be done to take them. But the one that is open, the one they posted online, the objectives posted online were just sounding like any political, points that any group could make for their own survival, and if you look in between, reading between the lines, you'll be able to see clear statement of the real objectives. And how do you know that? Simple, common sense. Looking at Islam and the jihadi concept and narrative and the structural dimension of Islam and the precedents set before now, the precedents, it would help you understand the meaning behind every objective stated online. And so you must know that the objective of the Abuja Declaration is a total destruction of the status quo of any nation that is in existence. They have to take everything step by step and defeat the people. Now, in my next broadcast, I'll begin to take you now step by step until I get to Abuja Declaration and mention and give you details of the objectives, and then give you the details of how that declaration is being interpreted in today's actions and things that are going on. You must understand this. We need to educate our people so that we can all be free, because it is very disheartening when you see majority of our people having this kind of mindset, of supporting something that is killing them. They don't know the meaning of Nigeria. They don't know the interpretation of what Nigeria means. Because if you understand the full interpretation of what Nigeria is, you will know that you are just a corpse waiting for your time. You know you're a corpse waiting for your time. Except we begin to have knowledge about these things. I don't know why you want to fight over Nigeria against your own nation. Why don't you want to be on your own? Why are you struggling to be with people who are coming with death to you? It's shocking. It's only when it affects people that you see them come out to cry. That's when they come out to cry. Today, most people who are crying online today were people who are saying, leave that thing, one Nigeria is what we want. There's no killings, there's no genocide going on. But now it affects them, and now they want to cry. But we have been talking even before it affecting us, because we know that what affects our brother affects us. What affects our sister affects us. And so it is important we look at these things. Please share this video on all the social media platforms. I'm going to be taking everything step by step by God's grace, and also so that we can move on strongly. And please like this video, share on all your social media platforms, subscribe to this channel to help us grow and to increase, so that we can have the ability to tell the truth at all times and also spread the gospel of truth. And also, please don't be careless. Safeguard your community. Every community should come together, set up a security outfit that will secure your people. Let the community arm every of the members of the outfits. Arm them. It's not a crime. When you are attacked, you have the legal right to defend yourself. And if they're coming with those kinds of sophisticated weapons, then you must get your weapons anyhow to deal with them. Because if the government is serious about disarming, the first people they should disarm are the attackers, those who are coming to attack people. Those attackers should be disarmed before you talk about the people who are defending themselves. But these days, what we see is that they arrest people who are defending themselves and let the attackers go. That tells you that the government is also sponsoring. It's part of the sponsorship. In fact, they are the main people behind terrorism going on. The vice president today harbored terrorists. But as is he the vice president? You can imagine that. El Rufai is there making noise. But he is one of the sponsors. Buhari there, who died in 2017 or so. And they now told you that he died last year, this year, 2025. You see, he is a major sponsor. There are lots of sponsors, Patani and Gumi and all these people. These are sponsors of these people. But they are there. They are moving freely, right? Nnamdi Kanu, who is the freedom fighter, who is the savior of Biafra people, the one sent by God to deliver Biafra people. And not only Biafra people, the nations trapped in the contraption called Nigeria. He is locked up in the dungeon. That's the kind of system we are in. And so in that kind of situation, you have to be radical. Get your weapons, however you can get them, because you need to deal with these intruders. They are coming for you. That's the truth. They are coming for us, and we must prepare for them. We must take them unawares. We know our terrain. And please, all these Fulanis and all these houses moving in your community, restrict them. Find a way to make sure they don't get full knowledge of activities going on, the real activities and facts going on in your community. It is very, very important to help you. Thank you so much. I will see you again, and we'll talk better and more. Please send your comments so that we can know where to connect and discuss more and further the things we need to do further and understand together. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless you real good.